Here's an overview of the Wwise Audio Lab sample game. You get access to it from the Wwise launcher in the sample section, and there are two versions you can install. The one is the precompiled game with the Wwise project, and the second is the full UE4 project if you wish to change the content of the game itself. The game runs on both Windows and Mac, and it also runs in VR on Oculus and Vive. So what is the Audio Lab exactly? Well, it's internally the platform or the quasi-game environment we've been using internally to test spatial audio and other R&D projects surrounding spatial audio. And we decided to make that level or that project available to anyone so that you can experience various methodologies and techniques and tools surrounding spatial audio. So the first time you're going to load the game, you start in the main menu game where you can change the language of the game, and you can also select one of the two maps that are there. So if we start with Village, you will have a mix of exterior and interior environments. So here you can see that there are super large fields and you can go in streets, and when you go inside, there are super small rooms up to medium, large, and super large rooms as well. So that's really convenient when you start testing dynamic early reflections, for example, to get the differences and how it sounds in small or larger rooms. One way to get to the various areas rapidly is to pop the in-game menu and use the teleport function, where basically you can teleport to various places in the environment and just instantly hear what you're looking for. And the first one here on top, I'll start with info, and that means information nodes. And here's one, and as soon as you get close enough to it, you can activate the information node. And here it talks about something of interest in this area. So in this example, oriented reverb, there's a short description about what it does, how to make it happen, how to experience what's there, and what to expect from it, basically. So it's just some sort of a in-game training, basically, that you have directly in the Wwise Audio Lab there. Another element of interest when you go in the menu, so obviously you can look at the controls on keyboard or controller, options. There's graphic options, but the sound options, that's where you can do A/B comparison. So for example, the first one, all the ambient sounds have been rendered in both quad and ambisonics. And here's the place where you can instantly switch from one to another and experience the difference between them. If you're testing dynamic early reflections with Wwise Reflect, you can compare going back to static early reflections and see the differences between them. And when you do that, sometimes it's just convenient to just chop the late reverb and focus on the early reflections, enabling Oro headphones if you're working over headphones, or over speaker, you might just disconnect that, and changing the channel configuration, etc., etc. So, what you have basically from the sound option menu. So here I will simply teleport somewhere in the city to show you something else that is quite interesting, and it's the radio. There's a flying radio, I should say, that you can bring to you at any given moment. And why we have this radio is basically a convenient way to test different sounds, so you can change channels, listening to dialogue, to voice, to noise, or whatever you can just change that in the Wwise project and check it. But what we wanted basically is reproducible movement and something predictable as well. So if I invoke the radio menu, here it is, and you can see a series of presets for the movement of the radio around its docking station. And when you get the radio to you, basically it teleports at the position of the listener, so you really have the flying radio moving around you as a listener. So if I take the circular one here, for example, I need to reposition to center the radio. And here you can see the docking station, and you see the radio just moving around that station, that docking station, and trying different patterns. So here you can see a vertical movement around the listener, and changing, or a fixed one. Sometimes you just want the radio to be at a fixed point, and you can grab the radio and move it in space if you wish so, and just basically interact with that object, and it's just convenient. And when you're there, if you wish to have different movements, you can just duplicate one of the presets using the duplicate preset, change the settings, and that's it. You now have your own presets that you can use. So that's really convenient, and this is also available when you go in the Echo Room level. So now I'm loading back the main menu, and we will look at the Echo Room level. So Echo Room is special because you're starting in a cube, and I will just toggle off the radio here. So you can see here we're in a big cube, and we are standing on a grid that is sitting at the center of the cube in there. What is special about this level is that you have the ability to change the size of that room from 5 meter to 50 meter wide. And you also have the ability to change the materials on the wall, which will have an impact on the filters, on the acoustic texture that you would use if you're testing Wwise Reflect, for example. And you do that, again, in the radio menu, where you can change the material, and you can change the size of the room to get something very large or smaller. So here you can see the full 50 meter by 50 meter by 50 meter shape of that room there. And again, 2 other information nodes just to get other element of interest that you can look at in this map. So this level, we're using it internally to test projects, idea, and so on. So we expect that in the future there's going to be new features in the Wwise Audio Lab. There's already tons of features available right now, and we just wish that you're going to pick up a few tricks and techniques for your current project or maybe a future project by just browsing and experiencing what's available inside the Wwise Audio Lab. Thank you very much.